Hello everyone, I hope you guys are all having a fabulous Monday. Today I'm coming at you with our weekly Minks Monday Q&A. And before we get started, let me share the bag that I'm currently rocking. And that is my Chanel GST in the black caviar leather with the gold hardware. Alright, so grab your coffee, grab your tea, let's go to work, let's start your work, let's do your laundry, whatever it is that you do, come join me and let's get this show on the road, shall we? With the very first question from Tay MD. I'm going to buy my first Louis Vuitton bag for my upcoming 25th birthday. I'm deciding between the Speedy B30 in Damier Azur and the Pochette Metis. My question for you is, do you think the Pochette Metis is too trendy of a bag to purchase as my first one, or is it a classic piece that's here to stay? Fantastic question, and here I have the Pochette Metis, so we have semi-candy. Okay, so obviously only time will tell if it will end up being a classic item. I do feel that it's on its way to being part of a permanent, being part of the permanent collection because they have now introduced it in a different type of leather. So they've kept the same silhouette, but now they're going to introduce it in empreinte leather. So I feel that any time that they do this with a handbag, it's because it's on its way to being permanent. They're, you know, it's going to be a staple item for the fashion house. Of course, these are just my two cents. I have no idea. I don't have any inside information. You know, they might end up pulling it 2-3 years down the line, but I think that because the bag has become so popular, and it's not like it's become popular overnight. It's not like it's, you know, people have been talking about it just for the last 6 months. It's been for a few years now. So, you know, when it comes to going for your first handbag, the thing that I always suggest is go for the bag that makes your heart sing the most. When you go into the boutique, what's the bag that you're just like, oh, that's it, that's the bag. It just makes your heart flutter. That's the one that I would end up going for. Personally, I usually end up recommending the classic handbags just because they've been around for so long. They're iconic. They are staple items. They are permanent lines to the fashion house. And you know, let's say that in maybe 2-3 years time, you're just kind of over it. You don't really want it. When it comes to classic handbags, they're a lot easier to resell than some of the other seasonal items. You know, but again, it's all a matter of what's in your heart and what's the bag that, you know, that makes your heart sing the loudest. And do I think that the Pochette Metis is too trendy of a bag? You know, I've read some comments on my videos where people say that that's the reason they stay away from it, because it's so popular, because it's so trendy. So maybe I wouldn't call it trendy. I'd call it more, it's highly saturated in the population. But the thing is that I feel that when that many people rave about it, when that many people talk about the bag, and when they do reviews on YouTube, and they're just like, oh, it's such a great bag because of this and that, and you know, you get so many different opinions. I think that it's not so much as popularity. I think it's because it works, you know, and the Pochette Metis was definitely a game changer for my handbag collection, you know, kind of like what I talked about on my wish list video. But, you know, at the end of the day, as I said earlier, whichever one makes your heart sing, I think this is a fantastic bag. And even though I normally recommend the classic handbags to start your collection, if you want to go against the grain, if you want to go for the Pochette Metis, then go for it. I think they're both fantastic bags that you want to, that you're deciding against, but definitely 100% recommend going into the boutique and checking out both of them, and then whichever one just kind of like, you know, start drooling over, if you will. Maybe I should stop saying that because it sounds so nasty. But that's the one that you should go for. So again, happy early birthday, and I hope I was able to help. All right, next question from Purse Lover. When do you use Louis Vuitton Damier Azur pieces? I thought it was a summer color, but you mentioned that you were currently using a Damier Azur Speedy. I too live in warm climate and often wonder if I can use it during our mild fall/winter. So when it comes to Damier Azur, actually when it comes to any of the prints for Louis Vuitton, I feel that you can use them year round. I think that Damier Azur is a really great way to, you know, because a lot of people in fall and winter tend to use darker handbags. But I think that it sometimes stands out when you use the Damier Azur. And of course, I have to say that because of where I live, I'm able to get away with using Damier Azur in the fall and in the winter. If I lived in a state, if I lived somewhere where it ends up raining quite a bit or ends up snowing quite a bit, then I would recommend not using Damier Azur, again, because of the the vachetta and water stains and whatnot. But I love using the print year round. I think it's really fun, especially because, you know, I don't really tend to match my prints to my outfits. But sometimes if I want to go for an overall look, you know, if I have a really light top, which is very seldom, but if I have a light top, if I just have, you know, if I have a certain, like I said, a certain look that I want to go for, and I feel that Damier Azur just kind of complements the entire outfit, then that's what I'll end up going for. So whether it's Damier Band, Damier Azur, or Monogram, or whichever kind of print it is, I think that any of the prints are fantastic to use what's it called, year round. So hopefully that was able to help, but I highly recommend using it in the fall and in the winter again, because it adds fun to your outfit. All right, next question from Emily. When you have purchased a pre-loved Louis Vuitton piece, have you ever taken it into the store for any repairs? Do they give you a hard time since you didn't buy it directly from them? I told my Louis Vuitton sales associate I was wanting a Speedy 35 in Epi pre-loved, and she said not to buy pre-loved because Louis Vuitton will not service them. This is a wonderful question. And when I purchased pre-loved, have I taken it into the store for repairs? I have. I've taken a few different things. I've had a bag, the lining redone. I've had a few tabs taken care of, zippers. I've only had issues with one pre-loved item, but it wasn't because it was pre-loved. It was because of previous wear that it had. It was a zippy wallet in Damier Azur, and it was because of the varnish, and it was one of the worst experiences I have ever had at Louis Vuitton. But again, it wasn't because it was pre-loved. Now, you know, I've always been really vocal with all of my sales associates about items that I take in to be repaired, and I've never ever had an issue with them saying we won't be able to fix it because it's pre-loved or anything like that. So I've been very fortunate. This might not be across the board, but again, I haven't had any issues. I did have a sales associate who no longer works for the company, and we still end up keeping in contact. She told me years ago that I might not want to be so vocal moving forward, that maybe I want to say something more like, oh, it was gifted to me, or I got it passed down, or something to that effect. So when she said that to me, I wonder if it's because you know, maybe the pre-loved is a trigger word for them, you know, not to fix the item. Of course, I don't work for the company. These are just my 2 cents. So maybe that's what, you know, kind of hinders them from wanting to fix the item, because the person didn't end up purchasing it from the boutique. Of course, Louis Vuitton, like every other company, would want clients to buy brand new from the boutique. Again, they have, you know, they have the receipts, they have all that other good stuff. And I know a lot of you guys have told me on previous videos that when you have taken in your items that were pre-loved to get repaired, they ask for a receipt with your name on it. And of course, they could always look at your shopping history with them as well. So, you know, I wonder if that's what it is, especially because the pre-loved market is so big. It's gotten so much bigger than it has 5-6 years ago. So, you know, again, it's part of them wanting people to buy brand new, not pre-loved. You know, of course, it's more money. Why not? It's more money in their pocket. Let's be honest. You know, but I'm a diehard fan of the pre-loved market. You guys know that. We talked about that last week. So again, that might be the case. This might not be across the board, as I mentioned earlier. I know we all have very different relationships with all of our sales associates, but I will never forget what she told me, you know, years ago, that maybe I just want to just kind of keep it quiet. And last year when I called the customer service line, it was having to do with Minks Monday. They will repair any bag if it's 25, 20 years old, 15 years old, as long as they have the hardware, as long as they have the materials to repair it, they'll do it. So again, maybe not be, again, it depends on the relationship, but maybe not being so vocal, but that's just who I am. I'm always I'm like completely transparent when it comes to all of my items. So I just remember that in the back of my mind. So if I ever have any issues with any of my pre-loved items that I have to take into the boutique and to be repaired, I will definitely let you guys know what my experience is and what they end up telling me if it can or can't be repaired if I don't have a receipt or whatnot. So, you know, it's just, I think that it varies so much from boutique to boutique, because I know, again, a lot of people have fantastic, I keep saying fantastic, a lot of people have wonderful relationships with their sales associates, and others, you know, it's not as, you know, it's not as tight of a bond, if you will. So Wonderful question, and I hope I was able to help. All right, next question from Tony V. What do you think or how do you feel about YouTubers that just stop making videos all of the sudden? No explanation, they just stop all social media. God forbid it was because something bad happened to them, but if that's not the case, why not leave a message saying it's just not for you anymore? This is a tough question, and I see both sides. I definitely see both sides, especially because social media, it can be really tough. And it can be very stressful, and it can be to the point where someone just snaps and they're just like, I'm done. I don't want anything to do with it. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking, well, you don't owe an explanation to anybody. You know, what you do is your business, and, you know, move on and go forward. And that's true. You don't owe an explanation to anybody. You know, and I don't want to sit here and judge any YouTuber that has left without saying anything, because I don't know what they're going through. I don't know what caused them to just completely stop making videos or stop posting on Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter or what have you. So I don't want to sit here and judge anyone why they have left. That's just not my style. But I can only speak for myself. If I was to leave YouTube, or when I leave YouTube, I should say, I will come on here and say, just so you know, it's not for me anymore, or something along those lines. Not because I feel that I owe someone an explanation, but I think it's the thoughtful thing to do in a sense, because it's not like, I mean, you guys tune in whether you only watch Minks Mondays or whether you only watch my reviews. It's a bond. It's a connection that you build with that person, and you're not nosy, you're not wanting to know, ooh, I wonder what happened, ooh, is it this or that? It's because you genuinely care about their welfare. I have watched, I've been subscribed to channels before, and all of a sudden everything stops too. And it's not because I'm nosy as to, oh, maybe this happened or maybe that, you know, I'm just trying to start trouble in my own mind about what happened. It's because I want to make sure that they're okay, because I care about the person. And just because the person isn't in front of you, just because you don't physically see them, doesn't mean that you can't care about someone, you know? So I will definitely say it's not for me, or this is that, because I don't consider you guys subscribers. And I've said this before. I don't consider you guys subscribers. I don't look at, you know, my subscribers as a number. I look at you guys as my friends. And it might sound so corny to some of you guys saying, oh gosh, we've heard this from so many others, but it is true. And I feel that when YouTubers say that you guys are more than subscribers, you guys are friends, you guys are family. I've said this to you guys. You guys are part of like my extended family, because I tune in with you guys. I interact with you guys on my comments as much as I possibly can. And I love the bond that we have. You know what I mean? Like, you guys know my crazy quirks. You guys know me so well. And it's so refreshing to have a community that I can talk to freely about what I like, without having to worry about the outside, without having to worry about this outside world telling me, oh, don't do this, don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, if I come on here and I unbox a bag, you guys get it. You guys get my love for this, for what I talk about. So I'm getting off subject, but I think it's tough. I think it's really, really tough, especially because just social media can, you know, it can be consuming. It definitely can. And that's why you have to have a happy, a happy medium, a happy balance. So to each their own. And again, I'm not trying to judge anyone as to why they left. Everyone has their reasons, and everyone does things differently. But I would be more, I see it as a different perspective, more so the thoughtfulness and just saying, hey, just so you know, this is what's going on. Not because you owe someone an explanation, you know what I mean? So hopefully that was able to help. All right, next question from Isabel Ferreira. What do you think about Louis Vuitton leather bags in general? Since Louis Vuitton is best known for its canvas, sometimes I feel their only leather line that gets general appreciation is the Empreinte one. Would you like to add a non-Empreinte piece to your collection? I love this question. I would. It would be the Capucine. I love the Capucine. It's just a simple, beautifully crafted handbag. Louis Vuitton, even when they released the Capucine, they said that was their interpretation of what the iconic bag would be for the fashion house. Kind of like what it is for Chanel with classic flaps. And I love the history about the Capucine and why they ended up calling it Capucine. For those of you that don't know, Louis Vuitton opened up its first store on Rue de Capucine, so that's where it, that's where it came from. So I love that, and it has beautiful Taurillon leather. I know that's not saying it with the French accent, but I love the leather that it has, and it's a very soft leather. But I like it especially in the structure and in the silhouette of the Capucine because I feel that it won't end up losing its shape as it would with other bags that are made from this particular leather. So I definitely give a lot of credit to Empreinte leather, especially because a lot of people are very fond of the, and myself included, of the monogram being embossed on the Empreinte leather, but the leather on the Capucine is just exquisite, and it just has those beautiful pebbles throughout that I think really make it a very, very special type of leather as well. So I would like to add a Capucine sometime in the future. Who knows when, who knows when, but I appreciate that handbag immensely. But great question. All right, next question from Karen. I want to buy an Hermès click-clack, but I'm afraid of how it will wear over time. Could you tell me if you think they are worth it, and do you wear them a lot? And I brought out 2 of them, so we have a little bit of eye candy. Do I wear them a lot? I do. I especially wear the black and gold one the most just because I'm so fond of the black and gold combination. You guys know that. Whether it's a piece of jewelry or whether it's a handbag, I always go for the black and gold. And so you're afraid of how it will wear over time. Well, I can't tell you, and this kind of ties into the whole is it worth it? Because I feel that these are very similar to Chanel jewelry because these are fashion items. Obviously, they're not made out of platinum, they're not made out of gold or anything like that, and they do have a very pretty price tag. And when it comes to Chanel jewelry, so I'm using them as an example because even though I've had issues with them, even though I've had the stones falling out, I still go back because I think it's gorgeous. So I end up using them quite often. So to me, that in that sense, I think it's worth it. If you feel that it's something that you're going to be using quite often, if you feel that it's something that's going to be in your rotation with your other jewelry pieces, then I say go for it. And of course, it's always a matter if these items make your heart sing. I can tell you that moving forward, if I was to add another click-clack to my collection, which I do have one, I have an eye on a particular one, which is the gold and the white enamel, I will end up going the Preloved route. Unless I find a crazy killer deal, when I'm out and about and on a brand new one, compared to here in the States, then I will go for the brand new one. But for the most part, I will end up going the Preloved route because of the wear that they get as time goes forward. And that's because, especially the way that you wear the click-clack, let me just show you guys really quickly. The way that you wear this, obviously I'm not going to be pounding on anything, but it starts to rub on here. So whether you're out and about, whether you're at a counter, anywhere that you are, you'll start to get scratches on the bottom. So that's why I want to go the Preloved route. Of course, there are, different conditions that these are in Preloved. These are also known for having some chipping coming off of the enamel here. But for the most part, they do tend to have quite a bit of scratches on the Preloved market. But I'm okay with that because I know that a brand new one will end up getting the same scratches regardless. So let me just show you guys. This is the black and gold one that I talked about earlier. And the reason why you guys don't see any scratches are because me and my craziness kept the protective tape on there. I know some people might think that is so tacky, but it makes me feel better, all right? Because I don't see those scratches, and I don't think you could really tell. I mean, I can tell, and now you guys can tell because I'm pointing it out, but no one else can see it. So it has held up very, very well. Now check out this beauty. It has, let's see, there we go. You guys can see the scratch marks on there. You see them? So that ends up happening over time. So this was Preloved, and this was brand new, and this was, I think it was, I can't remember how much he paid. It was half the price, I think, from what this one is, and they went down in price, obviously. But that's what I will end up doing because I'm okay with it having, a few little dings and a couple scratches because this will end up having it no matter how much I try, it'll end up having it. Unless you're like me and you keep the protective tape on. But, you know, I'm okay with that. Plus, it gives it character, all right? It gives it character. And if you could save some money on it going the pre-loved route, why not? You know, kind of like what I talked about last week. So it's all a matter of personal preference if you think it's worth it, but I will definitely end up going the pre-loved route for this exact reason on how they end up wearing. All right, next question from Makeup by Just W. I just saw that Lady Gaga is teaming up with Tiffany's. What do you think about it? This is an awesome question. And if you guys watched the Super Bowl yesterday, obviously Lady Gaga was the halftime show, and since she's the new face for that particular line for Tiffany & Co., they unveiled it yesterday. They did a 60-second spot on it, unveiling the new line, and I think it's genius. I absolutely think it's genius. Not only did they use, you know, they definitely use the platform to their advantage because so many people tune in to watch the Super Bowl. So I think that was great. Plus the fact that it's kind of like Louis Vuitton and Supreme, like what I talked about last week. They're kind of, you know, they're making their product a little bit more known to more clientele. And I just see it that way, especially because when you have someone like Lady Gaga or any celebrity, they have such an influence over the younger crowds, you know, and then you see these younger people saying, oh, I want this, I want that, I want what they have, you know, just because they want to be like that person, either because they're their role model or because they look up to them or what have you. So, you know, I think it's genius on both, I think it's genius on both ends because it's just more money in Tiffany & Co.'s pocket. It's another line that they're launching with a face that the younger crowd can relate to, a face that the younger crowd, you know, are fond, you know, that they're fond of her. So it's a win-win, I think, for both parties. And the fact that they unveiled it during the Super Bowl is the biggest thing, because that's when a lot of people, a lot of companies, they want that prime spot for the Super Bowl. They want to be able to showcase new items that they have coming out, because they have so many, they have millions of people watching. So besides the Super Bowl, what do I think about it? I think it's great. You know, I think it's great because they are just bulking up. They are building up that clientele to, you know, to go for a different crowd. You know, you have the people that are already established with certain pieces of Tiffany. Whether you go for their stemware, whether you go for their silver, their sterling silver, whether you go for their diamonds, there's something for everybody. And now they're just making it even bigger. So I think it is genius for them to do this. And those are just my 2 cents, but great question. Moving on to Cheryl Vuitton. I fell in love with the Neverfull and I'm thinking about buying a GM Neverfull in Mon Mono as a work bag. Do you think it will wear too badly with the colors on the outside of the bag? I rotate my bags often, but the GM will pretty much be an everyday bag. What do you think? Okay, so do I think it'll wear too badly on the outside of the bag? It all depends, especially because when it comes to Mon Mono, they end up personalizing the bags by adding paint on top of the canvas. So if it's a bag that's going to be used consistently, if it's a bag that's going to, you know, it all depends on the type of weight that you're adding to the bag or how it ends up wearing when you do use it. It might be a little bit more prone to chipping. The paint might end up chipping a little bit quicker than if it was just a bag that you use in your rotation. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's just something to keep in the back of your mind. But I think it would be awesome to be able to personalize your work bag. You know, and a lot of you guys have said in the past that the GM is one of the bags that you end up using for your work bag. Just because of its size, you can end up adding so many things to it. But again, that same weight that you're adding to it, or the fact that it's being consistently used, will end up adding to the wear and tear and how it ends up wearing a lot quicker than if it was used in rotation, as I mentioned earlier. So I think that as long as you know all the facts, and if you still want to go for it, then go for it, because I think personalizing your work bag is awesome. All right, next question from Reed Jacob. I am wanting to downsize to a card case to carry my essentials for spring and summer. I am deciding between the Goyard Saint-Sulpice card holder in blue or the Louis Vuitton pocket organizer in Damier Azur. I prefer the Goyard mostly because Damier Azur is prone to color transfer, but I have always been loyal to Louis Vuitton Vuitton and have not strayed from them yet. What are your thoughts on Goyard and more specifically on their card holders? Also, do you think the current hype around Goyard will continue to grow or will it die down again? Love this question. And what are my thoughts on Goyard and more specifically their card holders? I am extremely intrigued with Goyard, especially with their handbags. You guys know if you watched my my wish list video, but I've done a ton of research on the wear and tear of them, and their card holders I think are beautiful. A lot of people rave about how they end up wearing over time. I know on some of the things that I ended up reading, some people said that they end up showing considerable chipping on the sides, depending again how you use the item. But I wish I had something that I could give you a little bit more feedback, but I love the history of the brand, and even though I feel that the design or the detail of it might be a little bit busier than what I would normally go for, there is just something about them that I really like. Plus, you can add variety to your collection by going with Goyard versus going for Louis Vuitton. I'm not saying there's anything with Louis Vuitton, so don't get me wrong. You guys know my love for Louis Vuitton. I'm just saying it's nice to add variety to your collection, you know, to kind of branch out of the same fashion house that you end up going for. And do I think that the hype will end up dying down? You know, I think that when it comes to Goyard, it's such an established brand because it's been around for such a long time that I think that you might end up having people come in and maybe they end up leaving. But I think it's just it's going to be one of those consistent type of brands that just has, you know, clientele coming in, you know, over and over again, especially if people don't want to go for something, like Louis Vuitton, or maybe if they don't want to go for Chanel. I can tell you that here on the West Coast, I very seldomly see a Goyard bag. So when I do, I'm like jumping up and down like a little kid, and I know a lot of you guys on the East Coast have told me that you guys see Goyard quite often, especially for those of you that live in New York. So it's something, you know, that I don't see too often over here, and like I said, when I see it, I just kind of, I go, ah, there it is again. But again, I think they already have established clients, and it's just one of those brands that will continue to grow as the years go by because they've been around for such a long time. So I personally say go for it. All right, and next question from Joyce Schur. I was wondering which print you would get the 6 key clay in now, since you stated that Damier Ben print is your favorite, but have it in the classic monogram. And here I have the 6 key. This is the one that I said last week. Was it last week or the week before? My ode to my 6 key holder. Now I switched back into my Chanel one, but there is a wear and tear on it. I love this item, you guys know. So what print would I end up getting it in now? I think I would still end up going for the monogram just because I think I have that nostalgia with it from when I first got it. I will say that if you don't want to see any of the key residue, because you can still see the key residue very much so. Let me see if yeah, you guys can see it right around there. See all those little gray spots? You can see it it's very prominent on this leather here, and because Damier Ben has that chocolate brown interior, you won't be able to see it as much. So if you don't want to see that, then I recommend the Damier Ben, but I would still end up going for the monogram one just because, I don't know, the history that I have with it. And the last question from Ying Lee. Your necklace looks very pretty. Would you please share the product info? This is in reference to the necklace that I was wearing on my previous Minks Monday, and it is just this little guy right here. And it's a little bar necklace that says happy. And actually I got this on my FabFitFun box. I think it was almost a year ago, and the brand is Juke and Nona. I don't know if I said that right, but I'll put it on the description box below. But I guess they have a few different type of like inspirational bar necklaces. They have like dream, love, happy, and I can't remember what else, but it's gonna sound, again, so corny, but it makes me so happy when I wear this. Especially because I feel like it's so me. Like, this is so my personality. I don't know, but I think it's really cute. And to be honest, I'm very impressed by the quality because I thought it might end up like tarnishing or it might end up turning my neck green, and I haven't had any issues. So, again, I will put the information down below. I think it was mentioned that they're maybe 18 karat gold, 14 karat gold plated, who knows. But again, I'll put everything on the description box below. All right, you guys, so that does it for Minks Monday Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I was able to help. You guys had some phenomenal questions this week. Now for my lineup this week, I have some interesting videos for you. I don't know if I'm going to be doing it Tuesday, Wednesday. I might be doing it Wednesday, Thursday, or who knows. But I decided to do my statement ring collection. And the reason why I'm only focusing on the rings is because I did like a dry run, you know, in my room talking about my statement jewelry, and I can tell you it would be a crazy long video. So I think I'm going to break it down, and if you guys want me to continue with, you know, my statement necklaces, then I will, because I felt like when I was going to try to, you know, just try to see how long it would be, it would literally be like 45 minutes long, and no, that I will end up boring myself listening, you know, talking for 45 minutes. So I will be doing my ring collection tomorrow, or either tomorrow or Wednesday. And I'm not going to tell you guys what I have in store for you for the third video this week. Hopefully it'll end up working out. But I hope it ends up helping out. I'm just going to leave you guys with that little tidbit. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you haven't already and you would like to, please subscribe to my channel by hitting that round thing with my face up there. I really need to change that picture. It's been there forever. And please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And I also wanted to point you guys in the direction of this video because I think you'll find it interesting if you haven't watched it already. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not. The choice is yours. Have a great day, you guys.